Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Garrett Sheehan, and welcome again to the Big Connect presented by Comcast Business and today's programming by Connecticut. We're really excited to have you with us. We just had Frank Sesno, former CNN political reporter. He's over in the Zoom room right now, and we're at the point where we're ready to get started with our next panel. And I'm pleased to introduce Dale Krupp. Dale with Hamden Economic Development, who will be presenting positive pivots and best practices in the pandemic. He's joined this morning by Ramon Peralta and Lauren Tagliatella. So Dale, I know you're online there with us. I saw you jump in. Good morning, and thanks for being part of the Big Connect this year.
Thanks, Garrett. I don't know what happened to the video. I think it's on your end. I think it has to be picked up on your end.
All right, we'll get you turned back on. That should work there.
There we go. Here we go. Here we go. And here we go. Oh, not yet.
Right. We got Ramon as well. Go ahead, Dale.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Could you see me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't see me, but okay. Anyway, good morning, everybody. This is the very first full panel at the Big Connect. So happy to be here today. The title of the panel is Positive Pivots and Best Practices in the Age of COVID. This is a panel on business resiliency during this tough time that we've had and this exciting time going forward. So we have an excellent panel today, some interesting speakers, and I'd like to introduce them and give them a 2-minute infomercial each. The format will be that we will have a series of questions. I would like to have all the observers out there, the people here, use the chat box liberally, not only with your questions, but with your ideas. I found in many of these panels that I've been involved in on Zoom and other formats that the chat box has been really interesting because people really do want to share some of their successes and their ideas for going forward. So without further ado, I'd like to first introduce our first panelist, Ramon Peralta. Is the president of Peralta Design. It is a marketing, branding, media, web. I was on your site, Ramon. There's a lot of stuff that you do.
Yes.
You're located in Shelton and Florida. Why don't you just take a minute or two to introduce yourself?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the panel. It's great to be back. My name is Ramon Peralta. I'm the founder and creative director at Peralta Design, and we launch brands. We're headquartered in Shelton, Connecticut, and we do have an office in Palm Coast, Florida. And we specialize in working with startup companies and entrepreneurs and existing businesses that want to launch new products or services, primarily in the digital space.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ramon. Next is my good friend, Lauren Tagliatella. Lauren is the manager of Canal Crossing at Whitneyville West, but also her family owns Franklin Communities, which owns numerous apartment buildings in Hamden and the region, and really state and in the Northeast corridor. So Lauren, welcome this morning.
Thank you, Dale. I just want to correct you, the Chief Community Officer. We do have managers at both of our brands. I don't want to take that away from them. Thank you to the Greater New Haven Chamber for asking me to speak today. I'm really honored to be here. I'm part of the 4th generation of my family's business. We've been around for over 102 years in construction and over 50 years in multifamily. So multifamily is apartment buildings. We have 1,250 apartment units in North Haven, New Haven, and Hamden. And just wanted to thank the leadership at the Chamber for showing how quickly they were able to pivot. That really inspired our organization to work as quickly as they did as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Lauren. So this has been a unique time in all of our lives. We've never gone through such a time where the business community has worked so well and so hard together, no matter what your sector is, on solutions to problems to move forward. I think most of us being involved with small business, me at the municipal level, we want to move forward, find ways. There are things that we're doing temporarily and things that are becoming a permanent part of our lives, not just Zoom meetings, but many other things. And it's an exciting place and time to work with the Chamber to make this all happen. Small businesses are uniquely suited to come up with solutions. I mean, y'all are one-arm paper hangers very often. You do everything for your company. You worry about every aspect of it. You're constantly problem solving. So what better place to inspire and create some interesting solutions to problems than this panel? And I, again, would like to encourage the people on this, watching this today, to use the chat room not only with questions, but with ideas that you may have in your particular sector. I know that at the municipal level, we tried to figure out what strategy to employ. Lauren was on a panel with our local Hamden regional chamber to try to go sector by sector and try to find solutions to problems and action plans to go forward, and then try to find common areas where we could help all businesses like daycare and transportation. So we try to come up with strategies that way, and we keep moving forward at the municipal level too. So what we'd like to do is ask our panelists 3 questions, have them take their time to answer the questions and to elaborate on what they've done. I gave them the 3 questions, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit and change the order. But first of all, let's have you talk generally about what new practice or product that you've developed that helps you meet the new opportunities for business. I'll start with Ramon.
Sure. So one of the things that we did when the pandemic first hit was we first of all, we took care of our team first. So we started doing daily staff meetings and emotional wellness checks. And then we said we're going to throw ourselves into service and helping others. And so we did that by putting out so a lot of free services. We essentially gave it away. And this became the foundation for a robust content marketing strategy, because we were giving away free COVID, alert bars on people's websites. We were doing live brand new sessions where we were giving away expertise on Facebook. We were doing a podcast. We were doing free half-hour consultations. We were giving away face masks. But all of this turned into a content strategy that was funneling work back in because it raised our brand awareness. And then what we found ourselves doing was offering that plan or that strategy customized for other clients. So prior to the pandemic, we weren't developing these custom, we call them flight plans or launch plans, but we weren't developing custom content strategy marketing plans for clients. We found ourselves creating one for ourselves, and then we started selling that service to other people that were looking to raise their brand awareness during the pandemic. So that was something that literally a service we weren't offering before, we're now offering it, and it's been very popular.
So where did you learn from them as well as them learning from you?
Well, we do that essentially once we dive in. We do learn from our clients because we're not experts in every type of service that's out there. So the answer is yes, but there are some best practices that apply across the board, and that's what we bring to the table. Is we help them. We're helping our clients funnel business back to their websites, in the form of maybe getting people to fill out a questionnaire or submit a form or self-identify as being interested. But the initial awareness has to come from some kind of being a beacon of hope, offering some kind of free service. And really what it does is it positions those companies as subject matter experts. They're putting out content, they're talking about what they know, other people learn from it, but then that gets them on the radar. And that's what seems to be working during this time.
Excellent. Thanks. Hey, Lauren, why don't you take a stab at this one? What new practice or product have you developed that helps you meet the new opportunities?
Sure. Well, it's not entirely brand new for us in multifamily, but virtual tours have become huge for apartment communities. So we had to switch over quickly and find technology that could support virtual tours. We started using FaceTime to connect prospects with our properties and check out our apartments. We used Skype, we used WhatsApp, apps we never had to use before that now have become a daily product that we had to adapt and use. We're also starting today, this afternoon, we're doing our training. We're starting with a chat bot. So 24/7, we're going to have our artificial intelligence placed on our website for one of our communities. And it's going to be able to answer simple questions for a prospect, like what's your pet policy? How do I qualify for your property? They can ask questions like that and get really quick answers without having to get get into the nitty gritty of our website. They'll just be able to get instant answers. So that's something we're really excited to start with. It can even schedule tours. So this takes some of the pain points out of the leasing office and takes some of that time that would be spent and taking up a lot of time on the phones and over emails, and gets that done for us and puts it right into the pipeline. So that's super exciting. I think this would qualify as a service. Joanna Marquito, she is our property manager for Canal Crossing and for Franklin Communities. She started providing daily emails. They were all inspirational, uplifting emails. She sent one to our team of 25 employees every day to keep them inspired and motivated to keep coming to work during this scary time. And then she made another one that was for our residents, and the residents absolutely went crazy for it. Like, they loved getting these emails. They were just a little, a minute long, just read it real quick, start off their day, and it gave them hope. So that was a really cool thing that started during COVID that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise.
So you're finding, you're easily finding the technology to, get to the first part of it, to take the pressure off your leasing office. Mm-hmm. You're easily finding the technology. So obviously that's a new cottage area that, everybody could explore because the office space is different, just totally different. Not better, not worse. We're going to find going forward that we don't need it as much. Sorry, real estate brokers. But it is a fact. It was something that was going on for 5 or 10 years in Hartford and other cities in Connecticut, where the office space sector has been reduced. The footprint has been reduced, insurance and so many other sectors. So you found that you could find the technology easily.
Absolutely. It's all there. You just have to look for it. And especially now, even our technology partners. So we work with internet listing sites, which are like Zillow, apartments.com, companies like that. And they've all done their share of work too. They've made it so we can actually post our own homemade videos. So we can use an app, make a video. So now we have our own virtual tours that are on our listings too. So if someone can't come here, we can direct them to that video that we made of a studio or a 1-bedroom. So everybody, it's not just us, everybody's adapting right now. And the people who could do it quicker are going to be the ones who are still around in the long term.
It's amazing that people would select an apartment without actually physically going there.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot. That's one of our trends right now, is they don't see the apartment until they come and pick up their keys.
Right. Well, the residential real estate market is super hot right now. So that's the good part about it. It's a seller's market to some extent, I'm sure. So we have a couple more questions, and I'm still looking for the audience to go into the chat box with other questions that they have. So I guess I'll start with Ramon again. What trends do you see becoming a permanent thing in a post-COVID business environment?
Well, definitely the virtual meeting is something that's going to stay, or the hybrid, where we're learning to respect everyone's comfort levels and understanding that, some people are comfortable wearing masks, in a conference room, and other people still want to come in virtually. It has also, I think, expanded everyone's territory. I think that if you weren't doing business nationally before, you certainly realize that now you're able to join networking groups that are connecting people all over the country. And it's all done through Zoom, becoming familiar with Zooms, Teams. Most recently, I used another one called Ring Central. So we're all kind of adapting really quickly to learning all these different virtual platforms. I think that's going to stay. There is something to be said for meeting in person. I'm involved in one particular group that's just starting, and they're limiting the groups to 10 people. But we also have to be flexible, understanding that at any point, the restrictions are going to kind of get reinforced again. And, you saw our state kind of moving back to 2.1 when it was at 3. So the good news is that we've all, the first time this happened, I think everyone was like deer in the headlights. But now I think we're prepared. And so you're going to see businesses adapting where I don't think we don't need office space for the realtors. I think we need it, but I think you're going to see less people wanting to get bigger office space because you realize your office now may be more of a hub, and that there's always going to be a percentage of your staff that's going to remain virtual or remote. And so I envision a world where it's 75% on site, 25% off site for those people that are going to, continue to lease, offices and so forth. So there are definitely some things that are going to stick, and ultimately it's respecting everyone's comfort level as we move forward and leveraging technology way more than we used to. I think now it's not just the geek in the office that knows how to use things. It's going to be a job requirement for everyone to be comfortable using technology.
It reminds me of a couple things. First of all, it's an incredible opportunity in the tech world to create more bandwidth.
Yes.
Whether it be in the areas of fiber. We have communities. I know there's a workshop on economic inclusion later on in the day today, I believe. And a lot of folks don't have the bandwidth to conduct their business at home, whether it's children learning in the next room next door or whatever. But even as kids go back to school in a normal way, I think it really is instructive to how we need to create more opportunity in all of our communities, and even in rural communities where there are wealthy people that they just don't have the connection. The internet is always going out, so we really need to take this as an opportunity. And congratulations to all the tech companies that are going to make money creating that opportunity. That's the way I look at it. It's a great chance to take a look at the digital divide and our geography. So that's the second thing is. It's funny you say that there's still a need to meet live. I remember when, for a while, we get bludgeoned with documents in my world of economic and brownfield development, and then we went to PDFs. And annual reports were coming, and my financial annual reports were coming, PDFs, and it was such a relief not to have so much paper. Well, guess what? I like getting paper again. I like to hold the thing I'm reading. It's hard at my age to read a screen all the time. So there's a circle of life that goes on with receiving information. So
yeah,
thank you.
It's kind of nice if you're on Zoom all day long to actually pick up a physical book or a magazine to just get less screen time. So I absolutely see print making a good comeback going forward.
And I do think that some people are understandably nervous about meeting live, but I tell people, I'm in 3 risk categories, but I'm craving live meetings, So anyway, let me shift back to Lauren. What trends do you see becoming permanent in the post-COVID world?
Well, just like piggybacking off of what Ramon said, we're going to have to keep leveraging our technology. We're also going to be looking into a 24-hour call center because we do have some staffing issues with kids out of school, schools going remote. It is harder to get people to come to work. So we still have an influx of traffic and prospects trying to get information. So we're going to be using technology partners to help answer the phones and schedule appointments so that end of it can at least be eliminated from our staff. So that's here to stay. All the video stuff is here to stay. I was looking at some of our business analytics last week while I was preparing for this talk. And one of our partners, apartments.com, they showed us, you could see how many times your videos are viewed. And then you can see year over year how many times your videos were viewed. Our videos were viewed 1,500% more in 2020 than they were in 2019. And nothing's changed. It's the same video. We have added a few other ones, but just to show how great videos and how important they've become to running a business right now. That was a real eye opener for us. So that's something we're going to have to do a lot more videos. We're going to keep making our own content on site. So we still have to be in the office in person. We're just going to have to get creative about who does it. We might have to shift around people's, maybe that's not something they would typically do, but during this time we have to, make unprecedented decisions. I wanted to talk about trends though in general, maybe not ones that we have much to do with so much as what's happening with COVID. Sure. In multifamily, we're one of the few industries that I think are pretty strong, at least in our case. We are mostly in the suburbs at Franklin Communities and Canal Crossing, and there's a shift. People are moving from the cities that have higher numbers of COVID, and we are seeing these trends of them moving out to the suburbs where they feel like they'll be in less contact with people. So what we're seeing is people moving from cities actually outward for 2 reasons. One, because of the pandemic, but also they're working remotely. They might not have to pay for a really expensive city apartment. So now they're able to maybe get closer to family or be somewhere closer to hiking or whatever they're interested in. So that's been an interesting shift to watch. And as you mentioned, Dale, the real estate market is hot. It's very hot. Like even just from my neighborhood, a house will get listed. It'll have 14 showings, 3 offers, and then gone by day 2. I don't think anyone thought that would be a result of a global pandemic, but we're rolling with it. And same thing with multifamily, which is what I do. Is I'm only in apartments. I'm not in single family homes, and we're seeing greater traffic. We're seeing double the amount of leads. The seasonality shifted, so this would be our slow season right now, typically in a normal year, but because of the pandemic, we're noticing that people were a little bit scared. As Ramon was saying, they were in shock in March, so we weren't really having traffic. And then as restrictions started loosening up, we saw it kind of go through the roof again, more traffic year over year for that time frame. And normally November, right around the holidays, is when our traffic tanks. But it's still staying strong. So it's interesting to see how this has affected our business.
Excellent. One of the things I was thinking of while the both of you were speaking, answering this question, was about, you can't even say the millennials anymore because they're not the newest thing. Okay, the Gen Z. I have one of each in my house: a millennial who was the last year of millennials, and a Gen Z person. And we're sort of have to, they've been saying this stuff before the virus. We don't want to read. We want digital content. We want videos. We want, Instagram, not so much Facebook or whatever. I think everybody's using all platforms now. They have to. They're home so much. But I do think that we have to speed up because you know what? In 10 years, they're going to be paying the taxes. The Gen Z people will be, 30 years old or 35 years old. And the millennials will be middle-aged. And so we have to listen to the younger generation. And I think this has sort of forced us into the digital world. I'm in the middle of designing 2 websites right now with a vendor. And it's all about video and the way content moves around the screen. We have to adapt to what the future economy, this pushes us faster to adapt to them. And I think that's something that all people on this panel, watching the panel, should think about is 5 to 10 years. What's in 2030? What should content look like? What should all of our businesses look like? Because they're the ones running the world at that point, or at least they'll think they're running the world, with all due respect to that. But anyway, our third question is really more of something maybe you've learned, the two of you have learned, going, as we've gone through these last 6 or 9 months. So Ramon, what's the one piece of advice you can share with other businesses that help you personally to adapt to the changing environment of your business?
I would say to those businesses that have employees and have staff is to focus on them first. Make sure that they feel safe, that they feel comfortable. If we have one person on our staff who still has not come back to the office, and we've just adapted to that. We've accepted that. We've bought laptops instead of desktops so that people have that flexibility. I've kind of suspended the set vacation rules to just be as needed policy because right now with school and everything else, parents that we have on the team, they need that flexibility. So just making sure that your staff is taken care of, and that you feel that it's not about the money so much as it is about how they're doing, how they're handling things, daily emotional wellness checks, daily staff meetings. I used to just have one staff meeting on a Monday morning, and now we have every morning we just do a check-in. So I really think the emphasis is going to be on your team, and then they'll take care of your clients. And that's something that I think is going to stay.
Yeah, it's really, our workday is so blended now. I walk out of this room that I'm sitting in right now. My wife's in the other room working at her job, and I'm going to have lunch at my refrigerator where I normally do. And is that work time? Is it personal time? It can be very confusing even for people that have been in the field working their whole lives. We do save money on lunches. I will say that. Lauren, same question to you. What's the one piece of advice that you can give that you've learned through your experience now and going forward?
So I've learned how important it is to have good communication with our suppliers and vendors. If you had good communication with them before COVID, then it's going to continue right down the line through this crisis. So we had issues where we have to keep our properties clean and we're worried about anyone getting sick. So we had to contact our cleaning companies really quickly and get a quick turnaround time from them and say, hey, we need certain areas to be cleaned twice a day. Hey, we need you to come more than this amount of times each week. We need you to come every day. And having good relationships with the vendors made it possible to keep our residents happy, seeing that we're making an extra effort, and also, giving them the feeling of feeling safe that we're trying to take care of them. We also had to think outside of the box with our vendors. So we had this huge package influx because everyone's ordering their groceries, they're ordering their Amazon packages. So now we have package rooms that have packages from the floor to the ceiling. So it became unmanageable. So I was thinking the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, how can we solve this? I don't want to necessarily hire someone just to deliver packages. But then I thought, we have cleaning companies that come into our buildings. Why don't we hire them to come and, they do their cleaning. And then when they're done with that, they spend a couple hours sorting through the packages. They already know where the apartments are. And then have them start alleviating this pain point for us. And you know what? They were more than willing to do it, even though that's not their business. But I find that you really have to lean on your vendors. Maybe it's not their expertise, but it could be something that they can help you with.
That gets back to the point I tried to make earlier on about this is the time where people are really working together and going out of their box, no matter where they are. No matter what the business is, you're looking for new ways to make money, certainly, but new ways to be valuable to your customer and for your customers to be valuable to you. So that's a great example of doing that. In Hamden, I've been trying to think about how to deal with a broad spectrum of types of businesses, all businesses that are all chamber members and very active in the community. You know many of them, Lauren. And so again, we've tried to attack this from a sector-based approach where we would deal with all the healthcare people, the mom and pops that have 1 or 2 employees, certainly the real estate market. So we tried to react. One of the things that's come up, particularly in the healthcare industry, is that we really need to be very strong with our vendors and make sure we can get PPE when we need it. A lot of employees who work in healthcare facilities, which is a big part of our economy, need to be tested very often. So therefore, there's a whole industry of folks producing PPE, whether it's shipping or manufacturing. Our manufacturers have shifted to make product. Plexiglass would be one. The plastic extruders are making plexiglass like crazy. And so we at the local level, we try to adapt to where we're at, and people are, like you said, they're very willing to do it. So now I'm looking over at the chat box. I see one question, and maybe this is, this might require an answer from other people watching. You're in the residential side, Ramon's in the marketing side. The question is, what are some pivot strategies for commercial property owners? Slack surveyed their subscribers and only 12% wanted to go back to an office full time. So what leads you to think that people will spend 75% of their time in the office? So that's an interesting question. It was posed on the app a couple days ago. So I responded I've read studies that where people want, 75% of people want to go back. Will they go back? Who knows? I think it's always a snapshot time during COVID, an emotional time if infections are up. Of course, if they do that survey, nobody wants to go back to the office. So I do think the answer to that question is very situational. I think it depends on what state you're in. Right now, Connecticut was doing well. Now Connecticut is rising like the rest of the country. If you live in El Paso, I bet you the number is 0% want to go to the office pretty much. So I do think it's just situational and a moment in time, but it is instructive in terms of how much product there is on the market. All right, we have another question from Amy Caselli to all the panelists and attendees. What are the biggest pain points you guys are solving for your clients? Ramon.
Well, the biggest pain points are just kind of getting people to stop their thumb, stop the scroll. People that are, we're working with everyone from, Modern Plastics that's putting out, products that they normally didn't sell before. So, all of a sudden they got into the face shield business. And their pain point was like that people knew them just for, medical implants and things that were not direct to consumer, but more B2B. And so raising awareness for clients is still a big issue because everybody being online means there's more competition for those eyeballs. So creating content that is going to stop the scroll is what we're trying to work with people on, trying to help them solve that. And you guys mentioned video. So a lot of the websites we're designing now has video backgrounds on the slider. I personally have put out over 56 2-minute videos that I post weekly on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. So finding the platform for them and making sure their content is on the platform where their clients are. Because I think without that strategy, people are just kind of taking the shotgun approach. So I do believe that even now, so more than ever, your marketing should have strong strategy before you start spending money on anything. So we're helping our clients do that. They really just don't know what to do. They want to get the eyeballs. They just don't know what to do. And right now, everybody's online. So you've got this captive audience, and it's really determining what type of content you should be putting out there and on what platform you should be on.
That makes me also think, Ramon, again about the opportunities in technology. A lot of times if I'm online at home in the evening, everything freezes up a lot because everybody's kid is doing homework at the same time. In my neighborhood, I don't have fiber at my house. I just have regular internet access, or 5 people in my house are using it or something like that. So I would think that a lot of your clients also have antiquated technology. They're finding out, oh my God, I don't have the capacity to deal with the video content. Is that the case sometimes? They run into a bind that way?
Well, I mean, in those cases, we would recommend that the videos aren't hosted on their websites, but on Vimeo or on YouTube. There are definite workarounds to help alleviate that. But you bring up a great point, which is I think people are gonna, for residential, people are gonna be more concerned with whether their home office has the right acoustics, whether they have the right equipment to work from home. I found myself ordering virtual backgrounds for team members that didn't have that ideal home office setup, and some of them preferred to be in the office because they may have little children at home that were
Right.
just
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
challenges there. And I know Lauren could probably attest to that trend where people are more invested in how their home office is set up.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I have this lighting problem. I look like I'm in a witness protection program. I'm about to confess. I'm still trying to figure that out. So the same question to you, Lauren. What's the biggest pain points that your business are solving for your clients?
Well, one of them was an easy fix, was the package, right? The package center was full, and we came up with the fix of having the cleaning company delivering it. The biggest pain point for our residents is the uncertainty, the fear. It's not getting a paycheck. Maybe they lost their jobs. So their biggest concern is, how am I going to pay my landlord? And so this is an unprecedented time. We have to do things we wouldn't have done before. We're working with people on payment plans. We're working individually with not just a handful of people, but many people across the board at all of our properties. Just trying to whittle down the delinquencies. That's now like a full-time job, someone getting in touch with residents and finding a way to make it work for them and for us.
Yeah. Wow. So I have a question from Eli Cleary. Asking for help can be difficult. If a business needs help, where do you suggest they start? And can you speak to the power of strong professional networks? That's a great question. I was going to ask. I had some questions like on reserve just in case we needed more time. And so this gets to people working together. So where do you suggest that business? I'll start with Lauren since you're on the screen right now. Where do they ask for help?
I find that I get a lot of help from the chambers. I'm part of the Hamden Chamber. I'm part of the New Haven Chamber. And those are my resources. Those are the first people to go to with a question. If they don't have the answer, they know the exact person to get in touch with, and they'll give you all their contact info so you can pick someone's brain. But definitely, reach out to your network, reach out to people who do that type of problem solving for you. And then, all it takes is a phone call to get help.
Yeah, people do want to help, even if they're competitors very often. So Ramon, same question to you. If a business needs help, sometimes it may not even be relevant to the service that you provide, but you're in a network of people, you're in a community of small businesses and people. Where do you send them?
Well, I volunteer for SCORE, and so I think SCORE is a great resource for people because the workshops that they provide are free, and you can get a lot of good information there. I'm also a big advocate of chambers. I belong to the New Haven, the Greater Valley, and the Bridgeport chambers, and so don't be afraid to give away your expertise because it'll come back to you in many ways. So being on this panel, for example, for me speaking to networking. I was on a panel early on in the year with the New Haven Chamber, which led to an interview on NPR, which then led to an appearance on the Today Show. And so there's a power that happens of reciprocity, I think. And there's a great book, The Go-Giver, which I love. And there's a follow-up called The Go-Giver, Sell More. And it really just talks about giving away your knowledge base and helping others. It will come back to you. The power of networking, I'll give one example, which ended up netting us the biggest contract that we won this year recently. Been working with a local charity, so charities need help. So it's a great place to go and help them with whatever it is your expertise is. And so we were helping this charity here in the Valley design a logo for a bike ride. And on that committee was this gentleman that worked for a major Fortune 500 company who, during the process of that, lost his job, but recently landed at another Fortune 500. And I really thought that was the extent of it, that we had done this charity work and that, it got us good exposure. But where he landed is the contract we just won. He contacted us and needed our services. So you just never know. Just plant as many seeds as you can. Give away your expertise, help others, especially now more than ever. I think that what I hope stays beyond the pandemic is this increased empathy that I feel that we all have for each other and for each other's situation. Be patient, be flexible. This is uncharted waters for all of us, and just help your fellow man. And I really think it dividends in the long run.
At the local level, I've been working at the local level on and off for 35 years, but in one place for 21 years. The strength of any plan going forward in a community level, which involves everybody on this call, you're all part of a community, is not business attraction, it's business retention. And business retention means having a resiliency plan. If you have a pandemic, we've all been through many economic downturns, 08 and many other times, 12. And so that's the most important thing at the community level, to have a retention plan. And the chamber, not to do another infomercial for the chamber, but I never say anything I don't mean to Mika and everybody out there. That is the place where business retention happens. It's at the local chamber or the metro chamber level. And all the other satellites that go around it. SCORE, you mentioned SCORE, communities and regions around the country have different things like that. That is where business can help each other, having a strong retention model. And I know the New Haven Chamber has a strong retention strategy. I'm looking in the chat box. We have looks like about 10 minutes to go. I see 2 or 3 questions. People want to know, and I don't know how you can answer this, but what percentage or when do you think people will feel good about going back in the office? Do you think a vaccine is going to make the difference? And if so, about what time frame? I'll go back. Ramon, you're right on the screen, so I'm going to go to you first on this.
Okay. Well, I can't predict, when the vaccine, when everybody has the vaccine, what will happen. But I do know from being on the front lines, and I think the smaller businesses I feel like are more inclined to be back in the office than some of the much larger corporations. I think there's a huge cost savings to the larger corporations, frankly, to have remote teams. But it also, I think, depends on the nature of the business. If you're a bean counter or a numbers cruncher that doesn't require a lot of collaboration, I think working remote definitely makes sense. If you're in a marketing agency or obviously restaurant or anything where it requires teamwork or collaboration or whiteboarding, I think you're going to see those teams coming back into the office and doing it safely. I've been a big advocate about reopening safely. I think you can have masks worn in the office when people are together and not have them on when they're in their own offices. You can have plexiglass, you can have air filtration systems. I think that that there's a lot to be said for collaboration and the need to come back. And we're getting clients now that are asking us, can they come in and meet with us in the office? And so we invested in the temperature scanner and that kind of a thing. So I think people are getting Zoom fatigue. I think people are having fever. I think people miss the commute. I know that sounds crazy, but they're feeling like you're going to work instead of like living at work. So I see that happening over time. And I don't know, I'm not really an authority to say what the percentages are, but what I'm seeing on the front line is that people are encouraged and miss the contact and the collaboration that takes place best in person.
Lauren, any thoughts on, what your just gut feeling is on when people come back to work, and if you think the vaccine is going to make a huge difference early on?
Gosh, I hope the vaccine does make a huge difference, but I think we have to get people over the fear of taking a vaccine that is brand new. Right. What we've seen, we have probably 95% of our employees are working and they never stopped. We're a 24-hour, 7-day a week business, and they come in. What we've done to protect our people, though, is we've shut our offices down. While people are working in them, we're not allowing any public to come in. Like if a resident has a maintenance order or something, they have to email it or call it in. They can't come into the office like they used to do. And we miss that. That was a real big part of our brand was putting sure. Being that friendly person, management that they felt comfortable talking to. So that's been hard to get through. But our employees, thankfully, if you're renovating an apartment, you have one person in one apartment. So that really takes a lot of the health risk for them coming to work. In terms of when I think people will come back, I think we're going to see a big shift. I think people who can work virtually are probably going to choose to at least have some component of virtual work, maybe half, maybe more. I'm hoping that we get the vaccine soon and that we can sort of return back to a little bit of normalcy here.
Yeah, I'll be the first in line or second in line after the governor, I'm sure. All right, we have another question from Nancy Gray to either both of you, I guess. What suggestions do you have? And I've seen this question before because I've been talking to small businesses all the time. Do you have for the solopreneur, the home-based business or solo person or small business that may not have the resources, training or expertise to produce a video or digital content, since everything's going to be, again, going into the future, we need to be more mindful of the technology needs. But what do you suggest where they start in terms of what do they do if they just don't have the money to invest in it?
Right, I'll take this because I've through trial and error, like I said, I've put out almost 60 videos over the last 7-8 months on a weekly basis. If you're able to do this right here, Zoom, then you can record video. I actually do it through Zoom. I actually just host a meeting for myself, and I record that meeting. And so essentially, that's all you need. If you have decent lighting in your office, utilize Zoom, or you can utilize an iPhone. When I first started, I was using my iPhone. They have great cameras, but you can do it through Zoom. And then I use a software called ClipScribe. There are plenty of them out there, but that one is a cost-effective captioning software. 80% of people watch video with the sound off. And that is because they're either watching video while they're doing something else, or they're watching video while they're listening to something else. So they want to be able to read it. And so if you want really to produce effective content, shoot the video with Zoom or on your iPhone, run it through a software like ClipScribe where it creates the captions for you, and then upload that. And we actually have a free tutorial on ClipScribe. We don't have anything to do with them. We just happen to like them. But there is a free tutorial available on our website where you can learn how to use it. It's very, very intuitive. And there are many other software platforms out there. You'd be surprised what apps are available on your phone. I just want to say, get over the fear of it being perfect. I think it's more important for you to be authentic in your brand. Be yourself. This is who you are. This is what you sound like. This is the quality of your videos. I think people are very comfortable now with knowing that, hey, this is the real deal. It's not so dialed up and computerized and slick actually that being authentic is actually a good thing. And I think people, if your video is where you're starting out, I think really focus on your content. And if you're sincerely a subject matter expert and you're sincerely helping people, that authenticity and how rough your video might look could actually help your brand, because it just shows that you're a regular person trying to help somebody else. And I think that's more important than being slick at this point.
Lauren.
Absolutely what he said. I'm going to piggyback off of that. Nancy, you can't, I mean, you can hope for perfection, but it's impossible right now. So just put out your best effort, but also you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. So for us, when we were having issues with content, don't really know what else to do, there's only so many like how to clean your furniture posts you can put out or things like that, how to decorate your apartment. We've leaned on influencers. So I go on Instagram, I find influencers in our industry and try to see what they're talking about, see what they're posting about, and then put your own little spin on it. I'm not saying to copy them, but I'm saying it's a really great source of generating new ideas. We subscribe to a service. It's like $75 a month for some marketing and content ideas. They come out with like little Instagram, like little art files. I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. I guess they're JPEGs. But it could be about like World Optimism Day or something. And they come up with ideas for every day of the year that gives us something to post about. We can put our own spin on it. Or like they'd let us know what sort of events we could host that would attract new prospects or keep our current residents retained. But don't think that you have to do 100% of everything. There are plenty of experts out there that can help you on YouTube, free tutorials on how to do a video, or just, you know, searching YouTube, Instagram, even TikTok, I dare say, for some new ideas to get started. And don't overthink the video. I find that even when I ask some of our employees to make a video, they get so worried about, you know, saying the exact right thing, looking the exact, you know, maybe my hair is out of place, and you have to just do it, you know, and try it and put it out there for the world to see. It's going to be much better than being scared of doing it and losing out.
You know, it's funny, when the both of you were talking, you know what I was thinking about? TikTok. So I just downloaded the app, and it's stupid and it's hilarious at the same time. But there's a guy, I watched him last night, Ramon, who was doing, you know what your iPhone can do? And he does this really like 1 minute thing about this thing that nobody knows that their iPhone can do. So the technology's there. And the other thing is, you both said, is being authentic is really, really important. That's the explosion of TikTok and things like that, is that people want, you know, their lack of contact with people on a day-to-day basis, you know, all the time that they used to have. And if you're going anywhere, you have a mask on most of the time, is that you're dying for authenticity. You're dying for, you know, having something funny that makes you laugh, or something even stupid. I did think of TikTok, as a matter of fact. All right, I have another question. It's the last question. I think I'm going to answer this one unless you both want to contribute to it. And it basically was a question about how people in commercial real estate can pivot in this place. Do either of you I have a comment about that, but I'm going to let you guys go first if you have a comment. Looks like, Ramon, you're shaking your head there.
Go for it.
Huh?
I said go for it if you have something to add on that.
Well, yeah.
I had an idea. Oh, sorry, Dale.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
I had a quick idea. So we know like the Amazons of the world and shippers are doing really well right now during the pandemic. I would try to look for those businesses that are thriving, like shipping. Maybe it's a smaller outfit, shipping places where they can make that commercial space their hub and do sorting in that space and then ship things out. It all depends on what type of commercial space you have. But that was the quick and dirty idea I came up with.
Yeah, the Amazon repackaging idea is something that's in Hamden. There's 30, 40 people working on a property on Dixwell Avenue behind a building behind a building kind of thing. And they're basically, they reposition products that have been returned, and they've developed this cottage industry. But I would say to the property owners and people involved in commercial real estate, your clients, or if you're the owner, you have to be adaptable to the times. So I noticed in our shopping centers in Hamden, they've adapted to putting healthcare in there. Some commercial developments are looking to add housing into the mix. In the Milford Post Mall, they're looking at building 200 to 300 units of housing, and that's obviously at a bigger scale than maybe the questioner was thinking about, if you really need to be adaptable, but that has another another consequence, and that means at the municipal level, the zoning regulations all have to be probably modified to include arts and healthcare into traditionally, let's say retail or other production. And then on manufacturing side, again, there's organizations like Constep or whatever that are there to reimagine your space. Maybe you could share your production space and PPE. Constep is an excellent statewide organization. It's not a commercial for them, but I've worked with them before. And they basically take floor space, and because of COVID, they've seen that as an opportunity for consulting work on their end. And by the way, 20% of Constep's work is in the healthcare industry, not just manufacturing. So I think that area has a ton of room, a ton of opportunity to grow. So I see Garrett coming up on the screen here. I think it's time to go to bed here, or whatever. What happens when you run out of time?
That's our virtual hook. When I show up, that's the hook.
Oh my God.
No, this has been great. Dale, Ramon, Lauren, thank you so much. Great information. And if you guys are able to, go over to our Zoom room chat and just stick around for a few minutes. We'll see. I think there were a few more questions out there, and then people can shift over to there if you want to continue the conversation for about 10 minutes with our panel. They'll be going over to the Zoom chat, and that's presented by UI and Southern Connecticut Gas. And I see Shantae just put the link into the chat. So if you see that, you can jump over, continue the conversation with Dale and the panel. We are going to play a quick video for you before we get into our next panel, which is Access to Capital, presented by Key Bank. And that'll be coming up in just a few moments. But before we do that, we want to talk a little bit about the role of Diversity and Inclusion Council here at the Greater New Haven Chamber. And what they do is to assist our business partners in serving our wide-ranging customer base, increasing economic success for all. We recognize the value, strength, and competitive edge our region possesses within our diverse community. And during the expo, the D&I Council is going to honor minority-owned businesses and organizations for their continuing demonstrated commitment to the New Haven region. Their dedication, resilience, growth, and documented success help advance our mission of creating a better future for all people in our community. Now, each day, Ray Andrewson, our Director of Membership Services, will spotlight a minority business. Today, we will share his interview with Lisa Bowens Mercado, owner of Rhythm Brewing Company. Let's listen in. And the video will play in a moment. Here it is.
And we'd like to welcome you here as the Big Connect Expo in the year 2020 continues. This is a special segment of our program. We're very proud to honor 4 businesses this week. The Diversity and Inclusion Council of the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce that have had a tremendous impact in our community. And one of them, and one of our guests from Rhythm Brewing Company, and she's joining us here today. Congratulations as one of our winners, Elisa Bowens Mercado, and thank you so much for being with us here today.
Ray, thank you so much, and thank you to Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce. I'm so humbled to be accepting this award, so thank you for the recognition. I think it's great.
Absolutely. Well, you've done this for your innovation, your achievements, your resilience, and the ability to continually break down barriers here in our community, and your commitment to this community. So again, congratulations. And it's so funny. I'm going to share a few beautiful images with our audience here today, because I'd like them to know a little bit about what you do and how you do it. And of course, you started Rhythm Brewing Company a couple of years ago, but you were in salsa, but not yet salsa, chips, and beer. You started this company, dance company, right?
Yes, I will tell you, we are happy to share that we are celebrating 20 years here at Elisa's House of Salsa. So a lot of people knew me prior to Rhythm Brewing Company as the salsa lady. Now I'm the beer lady, but I've been in New Haven for 2 decades teaching people how to dance.
Yeah, well, and you've done a great job doing that, and you've served hundreds and hundreds of people in both businesses.
Yeah, it's great. We actually we broke a record in New Haven at an event, and we had the world's largest salsa dance class. And that was just incredible. So yes, people from all over the state have been able to come in salsa. So it's been great and be very connected with the community. So very excited about that business.
Well, when you established your business and you got started too, how did you incorporate diversity into your business plan to serve the wider community?
So I will tell you, any type of business or anything that I venture into, it's always it has to be inclusive. And so what you have to do is you have to think out the box. You have to be creative. You've got to be innovative. And I just knew with the beer company, there's not a lot of women, number one, but more importantly, there's not a lot of people of color in the industry. Connecticut, we were recognized as the country's first African-American woman-owned beer brand in 2018. And so we're trying to change the dynamics of the beer industry to make it look more diverse. We have to do that. I want women out there, and I want people of color to know that, yes, you can become a brewer. Yes, you can, if you're in the spirits or, you want to make something and you're brewing in your bathtub or in your kitchen, then you can really, really take your passion and move forward with it and include everyone. I think the more people see diversity, they're more likely to jump in.
Well, you've also been included in a major website too for your efforts on behalf of minority businesses. Martha Stewart recognized Rhythm Brewing.
Yes, Martha Stewart magazine. We were so excited when their editor reached out to us. They just thought that, people embarking on women and women of color embarking on the very heavily white male dominated industry. They thought that was worth noting, recognizing, and writing about. And so, and then that's when we got, received a lot of national attention for the brand. And, everyone's voices were heard. They're like, yes, we want to support brands that look like us or that are different. And, it's not the same old in this industry that, by the way, is $114 billion annually. So it comes down to not only just diversity and inclusion, it comes down to economics.
When you think about some of the young entrepreneurs starting out, getting involved with business here in the greater New Haven area, all around Connecticut, and in the wider communities of this country, what would you say to our young entrepreneurs to get started to develop minority business growth?
I would tell them, go for it. And I don't want to say this too lightly. I want people who have a vision, who have a purpose, who have even thought of something in their brain. You've got to dive in. I will tell you, the lack of diversity in any industry should give that young person or older person, because people are starting businesses, right now at any age. But I want them to fill in those gaps of where we really need people to represent in these different industries. So now more than ever, this is not the time to go, oh, I could have, I should have, and I would have, but there's no buts. As an entrepreneur and as someone that mentors a lot of young folks, I just tell them, I go, now is the time. Now is the time. And I hope that resonates with some folks out there listening. Now is the time, not to question, but dive in and make a difference.
Well, we celebrate you, and we celebrate you for all of your efforts, Elisa, in this community. You have made a difference, and congratulations on behalf of all of us, the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce Diversity and Inclusion Council, winning the Minority Business Award. And where can we get the beer? Take us to the website and take us to your contact information.
Absolutely. So it's Everything Rhythm. But the website is Rhythm Brewing Co. So it's just RHYTHM Brewing Co.com. That is our website. You can go, we do curbside pickup, you know, in these days of what we're going through. So, but people can find the beer at Trader Joe's, ShopRite, Total Wine. But if you go on our Rhythm Finder on our website, you'll see that we're in about 408 locations in Connecticut, and we're just so excited. And then, of course, social media, Facebook and IG, Rhythm Brewing Co. Google us, reach me directly. I answer all social media outlets.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us here today, part of our Big Connect Expo, and on your award, Elisa Owens Mercado, Rhythm Brewing Company. Thank you.
Ray, thank you.
Excellent. And thank you both to Ray and Elisa. That was great to hear about Rhythm Brewing Company. Please take advantage of their beer. It sounds like a great product, and we want to make sure that everyone hears about it and we get the word out. And again, thank you to our Diversity and Inclusion Council. We'll be getting started again in just a moment with our speakers, and our very next panel coming up is about access to capital. This is presented by KeyBank.